Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey, and today it's just news. And if you like the news, if you like the show, don't snooze. Give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. Thanks so much for the Patreons that I do have that help support this channel. Much appreciated. And as a Patreon, you have access to exclusive Patreon reviews and an occasional sneak peek of a dry run of a coming review. All right, so check that out. Remember, it's just whiskey, and today it's just news. So to kind of clear some things off the deck here, we've known for a little while now that Glenmorangie hasn't rebranded, but kind of has. They're discontinuing the 10-year-old, and they're replacing it with the 12-year-old. So they're still calling it the Glenmorangie Original. Here in the States, we're lucky enough that it's 43% ABV, and we get 750 milliliter bottles. In the UK, I believe most places it's 40% and probably 700 milliliters. And I will be doing a review of this shortly, a comparison. It kind of seems like the coming of age, the new trend, like the new challenge. Every whiskey tuber has to explore. I love Glenmorangie, and I'm looking forward to comparing these two to see what differences there are. And also, too, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in a second. But first, before I forget, if you stick around to the end to steal a page out of Jeff from G Whiskey's book, stick around and I'll tell you what's in my mystery pour, which will be a upcoming review. Sorry, I have a little bit of a dry throat today for some reason. What's interesting, what's interesting about this 10-year-old to 12-year-old is the 10-year-old in my area retails for around $42. And in the last couple of months, as I've been going to different stores, looking at things, and not necessarily buying, but just window shopping, the 10-year-old was on quite a few shelves at $42. Then this past week, when I wanted to actually buy an old bottle of 10 and a new bottle of 12, most places the 10-year-old was gone, and the new 12-year-old has gone up to $58 MSRP in my area. So a $12 price hike. And I don't know if it's just people know it's being discontinued, so they're grabbing the last couple of bottles that they can, or if distributors are getting word to bring some of this back. I have no idea, but I'm just making an observation, that's all. But look forward to that review coming in the near future. And then Jura has a 16-year-old Integrity bottle coming out, 46% ABV, 16-year-old age statement, and it's going to be bourbon, I think, with some ex-sherry finish or second maturation. And I think the MSRP is going to be $100-ish on that, maybe a little bit more. I'm not quite sure. But I love independently bottled Jura. I stay away from the core range. It's just generic 40%. But they do make good distillate. And so I'm looking forward to that bottle as long as it's at a fairly reasonable price. And then also, which I've alluded to in a past news, the Diageo special releases will be coming out this fall. And I'll be talking more about that when they actually start hitting the shelves. And before I forget, a quick reminder for the OSWAs, the Online Scotch Whisky Awards. The voting period is now open to everybody. And the website is oswa.uk.co. And that's a live website, and you can vote for 9 categories, things like Bottle of the Year, Distillery of the Year, Favorite Independent Bottler, Best Budget Whiskey, things of that nature. So please check that out and vote. Speaking of Glenmorangie, they have their brand new release coming out this week or next week, and their Tale of series. So they had Tale of Cake, Tale of Tokyo, Tale of Winter, Tale of the Forest, and now they're going to have Tale of Ice Cream. It's like all the rest. It's a NAS, non-age stated. Before you laugh too hard, I'm actually intrigued by this. I've collected all the other ones except for Tale of Tokyo. That didn't interest me at all. But what does pique my interest about the Tale of Ice Cream, it's an NAS. It's going to be around $100, which is probably $10 or $15 more than they were last year, in that range. Maybe they'll be $90, $100, but definitely pricey for a non-age stated. I get that, but it's going to display Glenmorangie's distillate, because it's all going to be first fill ex-bourbon and then heavily recharred refill casks to try to get the vanillins out, to try to give it a vanilla creaminess, so an ice cream vanilla overcoat to the fruits and the orange notes that are usually in Glenmorangie original. So I'm actually, as gimmicky as they are, that one does intrigue me. And then Glen, Scotia is coming out with their second edition of Icons of Campbeltown. And the first one was the Mermaid, which was finished in Polo Cortado casks, which I will be reviewing that one as well. That was a 12-year-old, and I'm cask strength, I believe. So this new Glen, Scotia Icons of Campbeltown number 2 is going to be a 14-year-old, and they're not going to label it as the Mermaid, but there is an illustration on there illustrating a dragon being slain by Saint Michael. And it's 14-year, 56.8% ABV. It's going to be a medium peated first fill ex-bourbon and finished in wine casks from Barolo in northern Italy. Okay, so I'm not familiar with that type of wine, and that's going to retail for about $130. Again, so you're getting 14-year-old cask strength. And then the other thing I want to talk about, you're wondering, John, why are these two bottles, this old Talisker from the Diageo Special Release from 2023, and the Lefroy Carchus from 2023. Why are these up here? Well, as a sign of the times, what seems to be happening is some of these distilleries and distributors are having overstock. So some of these things are not moving as fast as were planned, and to make room for the newer releases. To give you an example, this Carchus last year is 2023, which I absolutely love this. Retail between $80 and $90. You can find it now on discount closer to $80 to $85. However, in my area, there are a couple of there was a major distributor that is liquidating pallets of this for as low as $40 to $45. So things aren't moving as quickly as they once were, and these limited releases sometimes aren't so limited. And then also too, I've heard that this particular Talisker Diageo Special Release from 2023, I don't know if it's Diageo's warehouses or distributors in the UK. I'm not talking about America, but in the UK, there's overstock of this, and they're liquidating it to the Amazon in UK. Amazon in the United States does not sell alcoholic beverages, but in the UK they do, and I don't know how discounted it's going to be, but again, a sign of the times. And another sign of the times too, Macallan's new mini-series, the Cacao series, I think they have 3 or 4 so far going. I think they're going to have 5 or 6 total. There's the one that's called Amber Meadows, is in a store not too far from me, in my area, I should say, is marked down to $99. I mean, these things were, the original MSRP were 140, 150. I think the first edition of Cacao is retailing for $229. That when they first came out, though, it was around 130, 140, 150. And the new Amber Meadows, $99. So it's again just a sign of the times. I think people are feeling the pinch of their wallet, and the volume of bottles that we've over accumulated in the last few years. I think it's a two-way thing. They have too many bottles. They're really watching their spending, and we're in the middle of a global inflationary condition right now, and it's being felt. But anyway, that's my news. As far as the mystery report in my glass, what's interesting, it's going to be the Glen, Scotia Campbeltown Malts Festival 2023, limited edition, and this also happens to have, this is white port, which it's not being discounted, but what's interesting is the Talisker has some white port in it, and the Carchus has the white port in it, and I will be reviewing 2023 cask strength 11-year-old Glen, Scotia, matured 10 years in ex-bourbon and 12 months in white port casks. So I'm looking forward to this review. That's all I have for you today. Please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, consider becoming a Patreon, and all that good stuff. And remember, not only is it just news, it's just whiskey. Hats off to you all, and take care, folks.